Hey guys, welcome back to my channel again. My name is Arsalan and today we are on day 61 of solving the object-oriented programming questions with the help of Python. So today's topic to discuss is encapsulation. So we will be discussing encapsulation. It is a topic, it is a concept of object-oriented programming. So we will be understanding with some basic structure and also we will be doing a question related to it. So just before starting with this tutorial, with this concept, let's understand what this playlist is all about. So if you are very new to this channel, let me give you a very brief introduction of what this playlist is all about. In this playlist we have been solving questions, we have been understanding the logic, the concept of object oriented programming. We started from a very basic concept of object oriented programming. We also did question based on object oriented programming with a very basic question. As you can see on the screen, on day 1 we did a very basic question, and then we have been moving on to difficulty level like anything. So we have been increasing the difficulty level like anything. We have been moving on to more difficult question, and day by day we have been increasing the bar of the question. So if you are very new to this channel, please do subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, press the bell icon button and bookmark the playlist so that you can get the updates from the channel. So today's topic to discuss is encapsulation. So it is a very important topic to discuss. And what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is putting putting your things in a box to keep them safe and organized. In programming, it means putting data like numbers or names and actions like calculating or changing things related to a thing together in one place called a class. So what is encapsulation? It means that putting your private things in a more organized manner. Like let's say there is some sensitive thing, let's say your name, or it could be a phone number or anything that is private to you, and you want to keep them in a safe place. So how you will be keeping them safe is by creating a class, and that class will be your box, and that box, inside that box you want to keep them safe. So how we will be keeping safe? You will be just using the concept of encapsulation. So using the encapsulation, it will be just private to that box. So the box is a class. So class could be anything, a class name could be anything, but it will be only private, it will be only private to that thing. So imagine you have a box with your favorite toy inside it, right? So you have a box in which you have toys inside it, and those toys are very favorite to you, and the box hides the toy and lets you play with it using the box handle. So the box is hiding the toy, and you can only play it with using a handle, means it will only allow you to play using a handle. So now in a similar way, encapsulation hides the details of how things works inside a class and provides method like handles to interact with them. So similarly, in a similar way, like you created you have a box, and inside that box you have a toy, and if you want to play with those toys, you have to play it with a handle. So in a similar way, if you have if you have some attributes, if you have some details, uh, if you have some details, so if you want to uh, approach them or you want to use them, so how you will be using, you will be interacting them with the help of method. So those methods are called handles, similar like the box handle. So methods are like handle, the box handle, which will be allowing us to use the um, details and interact with the details we will be providing inside the class. So what is encapsulation is like, if you encapsulation hides the details of things, how things works inside a class, and provides methods like handles to interact with them. So for example, think about a person class. So let's say you have a person class, all right, and it can have private things like a person's name and age. So these private things can be name and age. You have a class person name, you have a class and it has a name person, and it has two attributes, let's say name and age. So these two details are very private, right? So with encapsulation, what you will be doing here is we put these private things inside the class and use special methods like get and set methods to read or change them. So what we do here is we put these attributes, we put these details inside a private thing. Means you can just approach them with the help of set or get methods. You will be just checking it further to read or change them. This way we can control how things are used and changed, making sure they are accurate and safe. So while we will be doing some question, and while we will be seeing the basic structure of the encapsulation, you will be having a better idea. But for now, I hope you have the basic idea of how the encapsulation works. So to brief it out, let's understand that encapsulation allow us to use the means it allow us to keep the private thing private, and then if you want to approach those, interact those details, you interact with the help of some methods. So you can have some set methods or get methods. So let's say there is an attribute called name, and if you want to interact with that name attribute, you will be creating that name. First of all, you will be making that attribute a private attribute, and then to approach the attribute you will be using a method called get method, get name. Or if you want to set a name, you will be just using the set method. So you can give the set name and get name method. We can create methods like set name and get name, and then after creating that we can get those methods for our use. So we can use them, interact with them while creating the methods. So let's see the basic structure of encapsulation to have a better idea about it. So the basic structure says that the class name, let's say we have a class name. So we have a class as class name, and we have a instance attribute name. All right, so we have instance attribute name, and then this instance attribute is kept private. So this is a private attribute, this is a protected attribute, and the last one is public attribute. So these three are different attributes. If you put double underscore, if you put double underscore, it's private. If you put single underscore, it's protected. And it's if you put no underscore, it's public underscore after self. And if you want to get this private attribute, what you will be doing here is you will be creating a method like get private attribute, and this private attribute can be named anything. So if you want to keep self name, you can just do it like this, but I have kept it to make it more understandable. You can also write it like this, but then I have to change it from here and here as well. But I have to change here and here as well, but I won't be doing it because it's already been done. It was just to make you understand in a better way. Now if for that def method we have get at private attribute, we can return this, and this method is protected, sorry, private, and this method is private, which means that it will be getting me private attribute. And then this is set also is a private attribute, it has also a private attribute, so it will also giving me the private attribute. So first of all it's setting and then the getting method. So we have both the method set private attribute and get private attribute. The get private attribute is just returning the value of the returning the value of the private attribute, and set attribute is returning me the value of the private attribute. So it is setting and getting. First of all it's setting, first method is get, to get the private attribute. Like if you want to return the private attribute, let's say you want to return name, you can just return it self dot private attribute. And set attribute allow us to just in case if you want to change the attribute. Let's say first of all you have a default value as, let's say name as Arsalan, and then if you want to change the value, you can use set attribute and put the value inside it. So as I've just mentioned it below here, create an instance. First of all, I created an instance. In the class name, I put the name as Arsalan because it's taking one instance attribute, and after that I'm just setting. So if I before this, if I print this value before and after, so before setting I'm just printing the value. So first of all I will be getting Arsalan, and after printing I will be getting 42 because I have set this value as 42. Let me zoom in here so have a to have a clear vision. So this is the basic structure. Now what is the difference between public attribute, private attribute, and the last one is protected attribute? So public attributes, these attributes are accessible from anywhere, which means that you can just access from anywhere in the program, but both within the class and from outside the class. So if you want to use them inside the class or outside the class, you can use them. They can be accessed directly using the object of the class. So you can just use them directly if you just create some instance, some object, and you can use them directly like we have been doing it previously. Now if we like we previously used to create instance, and we can just directly approach those instance. So we can directly approach the attribute and from the class, and outside the class we can also do it using the object. And then private attributes, these attributes are only accessible within the class in which they are defined. So which means that these are attributes which is only accessible inside the class. They are not approachable, and they cannot be interacted outside the class. They are denoted by using a double underscore. So we use the double underscore prefix to the attribute name. So if while we write double underscore, if you put double underscore, it will be used as a private attribute. So it's a prefix. If you put before the attribute name, if you put a double underscore, it's a private attribute. Private attributes can be only accessed using methods defined within the class known as getter and setter methods. So if you want to interact or access the method, if you want to interact or access the attributes which are private, you can only use them with setter or getter methods. So as I have already told you here that if you want to use them, you can use it by getting set or get methods. All right. So what I mean to say here is what we can do here is let's do it with some example here. Let's just comment out all of this thing here, and as we have some attributes here mentioned above, we have attributes public, private, and protected. Three attributes we have, and we already know that if you put double underscore, it's a private. If you put single underscore, it's protected, and if you put no underscore, it's a public attribute. So to differentiate between all of these, we can create an instance here. So let's create an instance here. Let's say obj is equals to our class name, and then we have to pass one instance here. So let's say name. So let's pass Ahmad is the name. All right. So previously, if you want to get the directly name of the if you want to get the name, means if you want to use the name only, if you want only the name, you can just directly say that print obj dot public attribute. So we can just write public attribute and we can get it like this. But what if it's private attribute? What if it's private attribute? If I say that private attribute, so as the statement says that private attributes can only be accessed using methods defined within the class known as getter and setter methods. So So if I run this now, it will be throwing me an error because this is an attribute which is private, and we can only access this attribute with the help of some methods which we will be defined inside the class called get method and set method. So let's see. Yeah, so see, as you can see on the screen that it's showing me an error, and it's also recommending that did you mean get private attribute. So did get private attribute is a method, and if I comment this and say print obj dot get private attribute and run this now, it won't be showing me an error. Now we can run it because this is a method. This is not an attribute we are running directly. This is a method, so this is what encapsulation is. So we are just encapsulating the private method inside the private attribute inside the method. So what we are doing, uh, we are just putting the private things inside a method. So that is a method which will be allowing us to access the attribute which is private. So I hope you have understood the concept here of private attribute and the concept of encapsulation, that how we will be using encapsulation to make our thing private and how to access them. So now I hope that you have understood this concept of get and set private methods and understood the concept of private attribute. Now one more attribute there is protected attribute. So this attribute is also important to understand it because these attributes are not truly private like private attributes, but they are intended to indicate that the attribute is for internal use within the class and its subclasses. They are denoted by adding a single underscore prefix to the attribute, and protected attribute are accessible within the class but its and its subclasses, but they can still be accessed directly. So what is protected attribute here is, it is nothing. It's as you can say, it's not truly private, but it's it is indicated for the you can say it's not fully private, but it is showcased as a private. So what it means here is that they are denoted by a single underscore, and protected attributes are accessible within the class and its subclasses, but they can still be accessed directly. So the key point here to understand in an encapsulation is that to get the attribute which is private, we have to use the methods setter and getter. To set the method, we have to use set method, and to get the private attribute, we have to use the get method. All right, so this is the concept of encapsulation here. So we have a one sample question here. We have one quick question we will be doing here to just make our things more understanding. Means we will be just doing one question here which is already displayed on your screen to enhance your understanding, to enhance our understanding of encapsulation, and then we can just wind up the day for 61, and then we will be having more question in the upcoming days. So let's see, the question here is define the class called student. So let's define a class student. We will be doing step-by-step things here. So we have a class student here with private attributes name and age. So let's define def init here first and take two instance attribute. First of all, its name and age. Now we have these two instance attribute are protected, private. So to define private attribute, we will be just taking two underscore here, and then after this we will be saying name is equals to name, and self dot age is equals to age. Now if I create an instance here, let's say a is equals to, or say Arsalan is equals to student, and I put Arsalan is a name and age, let's say 22 is the age, and print Arsalan dot name and Arsalan dot age. So it will be obviously throwing me an error. We all know the reason here, because this is a protect, this is these are two are private attributes, so it will be of course showing me errors here. See, it's showing me errors here. So it's showing a student object has no attribute name here. So what we can do here is to make it more to make it accessible, we can create methods. So we can say def get name self, and then we can return self dot underscore underscore name, and now it is accessible. And if I run this, you will be seeing that I'm getting Ahmad here, but uh, we cannot still access, we cannot what is we cannot access what we cannot access our uh, age here. So it was showing Ahmad for my previous code here, I haven't changed it, so I have to change this as like this. And no, for I have to get the method, not I will be not doing it like this, I will be just making it like this and close it by parenthesis. And now it will be showing me an error for age. As you can see, it's showing me an error for the age. So I will be doing the same thing for the age. So def get age self, and I will be returning self and self dot underscore underscore age. And now if I'll be saying that get me age and close it by parenthesis, it won't be showing me any further error, and it will be just printing me the age and name here. As you can see that we are getting the name and age here. Let's comment out the upper section here like this, so we do not get any error. So you can see that I'm getting Arsalan and 22 as my name and age respectively. So what we have to do next here is implement methods to get set and get these attributes. Demonstrate encapsulation by accessing and modifying these attributes through the method. So what we have already done the get part, we have to set also. We have to have a method of set as well. So def set a name self, so set name to any rename, and we can see that self dot underscore underscore name is equals to rename. And similarly I will be doing it for the age as well. Set age self and new age and then I will be saying that self dot underscore underscore age is equals to new age. So we have four methods here, two for name and two for age, two get methods and two set methods. So to get the name we can just return the get method, and to get the age we will be returning get age, and if for setting the name we'll be using set name, and for setting the age we'll be setting age. So if I want to set the age, what I will be doing here is setting the, or we can just say using the setting methods, using the set methods. And let's say first of all we want to just set the name. So what I can do here is Arsalan dot it is my object here, right? So Arsalan dot the name the name of the method is set name. So if I want to name rename my name, I can just write dot set name, and then I can just pass the name. So let's say I want to pass it as Arham or like this, and then if I print it again, let's print it again, print Arsalan dot get name and then close it by parentheses, I will be getting renamed as Arsalan. And similarly I can do it for my age here as well. If I say that Arsalan dot set age let's say the age here is let's first of all correct this spelling and set age as 35, and I say that print Arsalan dot get age, and close it by parentheses, and then if I run this, it will be giving me 35. So I have renamed the name, and then I have also just set the new edge as 35. So this is how you can access the private attribute using the set and get methods, and you can just customize it on your own if you want to. Means you can just customize the name of the attribute, you can just customize the name of the function, the methods, but the concept remains the same, that the to access the private attributes, you have to use the methods to access those attributes. You cannot use them directly, as I've already discussed it previously, like trying to access the attributes directly. What we can do, what if I want to try to access the attribute directly without using the method? Also write without using the set, get or set methods, we cannot do it. So let's try it. Print obj dot name, obj.name. So this is the attribute if I want to access, so it will be throwing me an error. So sorry, it's not obj, it's Arsalan dot name, and this is not a method, it's an attribute here. And if I want to access it, it should be throwing me an error like this. As you can see, a student object has no attribute name, it's showing me an error. However, it has a name attribute, and if I say that if I have one more attribute, let's say new name. If I have an attribute as new name, and if I say that self dot new name, it's a public attribute now. New name is equals to new name. So now this is a public attribute. Let me write it here. This is a public attribute. So we can just access it from anywhere, right? We can access it from anywhere, and this is private attribute. And the name is also a private attribute. So we cannot access this, but we can we cannot access these two attributes, but we can access this public attribute. Let me show it to you, that if I print above here, so that I can get the value before the error. And if I say that Arsalan dot new name, and then I have to pass the value inside this too. So I have to pass a name here. Let's say my name is new Arsalan, and it should be giving me the value as new Arsalan. As you can see, it's giving me new Arsalan here, and also throwing me an error afterwards because we cannot do it. So let's print some spaces here like this, so we can just see the error after some separation of space. See, after these 4 lines, 5 printed values, I am getting the error as saying that object has no attribute name. So this is what the error would come if you just try to access them directly if it's a private attribute. And if you want to access them, you can just only access them with the help of methods. So hope you understand the concept of encapsulation. This was a very brief introduction of encapsulation, and while we will be doing the question based on encapsulation in the further tutorial, you will be understanding it in a more better way, and you will be just getting more understanding, more clarity, and more logic of the encapsulation concept in object-oriented programming. So this was all for today. I hope you have liked the concept of encapsulation and you have liked this tutorial and also my way of teaching. Thank you guys for watching this tutorial, and see you next time.